Inheriting a home can be a huge problem for you. Yes, what might be that instant thought of how much money you will get soon turns into a mounting pile of headaches for you. Now don't worry, you're not the first person to think like this, as a lot of people do. And today I'll cover in this video the problems that can occur when you inherit a home. And you'll want to stay tuned, as some of those things I cover are going to definitely surprise you. And also I will cover what the biggest problem is with inheriting a home. And I hope this will help you when or if this happens to you. Now, many people deal with these types of problems with estates, and I will share with you all those problems that have been encountered through the years of me helping other people. First off, it's a very high percentage that you will inherit a property someday, and most will inherit a home that was actually a loved one's, and you will have to deal with all the day-to-day items that home comes with till you figure out what you're going to do with it. Now, inheriting a home doesn't, and I stress, doesn't mean inheriting it free and clear. That home could have a mortgage against it, and people, they usually think that death washes out that obligation, but sorry, it does not. You and your siblings are now responsible to make those payments to the mortgage holder. And if the payments are not made, that lender has the right to foreclose on that property still. And if the homeowner was older, there's always a good chance that they even did a reverse mortgage on that home, which can eat up all that equity quickly. Now, I can't tell you how many times I've helped family on estates, and they find out that mom and dad took out a reverse mortgage so they could just continue to live in that house so they wouldn't have to go anywhere. And the way that a reverse mortgage is structured, the families get all upset because they feel that the lender took advantage of their parents. Now, there are some of those lenders out there, unfortunately, who do not do a good job of explaining these reverse mortgages. But for the most part, they do help older people stay in their home so they don't have to move anywhere. Either way, though, these mortgages have what's called a due on sale clause, meaning the lender can require the full balance to be paid when that title is ever transferred if you're not selling that property. It's not enforced always, but many times the lenders will try to have you take over that liability, and you must qualify to do so. Now, if you're unable to qualify, you may need to sell that property quickly and take a potential loss if that balance is high enough, and there's always a good chance if there's a reverse mortgage that the balance could exceed what that property's worth. And either way, this can add a significant financial burden to you and your family. Now, here is a common problem as well, that good old repairs and maintenance of that home. Let's face it, most of the time inherited homes are older and haven't been updated, and so comes decision time for you. That roof could be worn out and leaking. You may find that the electrical system is outdated, and even worse, you may find that that home has some sort of structural damage too. Now, through the years of buying these types of homes myself, I have found out that some are not even habitable to live in. You may unfortunately have had a loved one that was a hoarder, and some of these hoarder homes can take many dumpsters just to clean them out. I mean, the cleanup costs can get really expensive fast, as nowadays a dumpster can run you $400 to $600 and really eat into your budget. And once that home is cleaned out, you may run across mold issues. You may notice that the floor is rotted, and so the subfloors need replaced. And trust me, I've seen some pretty nasty stuff through the years. Now, even things like lawn care, cleaning the home, and keeping those utilities up can even be a daunting task for some people. Now, speaking of the utilities, people don't even expect that they have to pay those utilities as well. Now, the utilities like the electricity, water, and gas, they don't go away either. And one major item, especially if that home is free and clear, or the mortgage holder may not be escrowing for this, is the property taxes and the insurance. Now, with all the high property taxes that we've had the last few years, they have just skyrocketed, and this can add a huge expense for the people that are inheriting that home. Now, you'll want these paid too, as they can put a lien on the home, they can charge you interest, and someone can go buy those taxes at a tax auction, and if they are forgotten, they could end up owning that home instead of you. So make sure you go to your county, you get on their website to see if those property taxes were paid. You will also want to be sure that home is properly insured as well. As back to the repair items, you may be able to file a claim on that roof if it actually does have damage. So always keep that in mind. Now here is the biggest problem when you inherit a home. And first, I just want to say that if you do have further questions about any of this on inheriting a home, click on my contact link below. I'd be happy to talk to you. The biggest problem that comes with inheriting a house is family dynamics and disputes. I can tell you that once money comes into the picture, things get ugly fast. If you are fortunate to be the only sibling, then be very thankful, as when it's more than one sibling, things get very complicated. Everyone may have different ideas about what to do with that property. One person may want to sell it, one may want to keep it, one may want to rent it out, and another may want to just fix it all the way up and resell it. Now, if you elected to keep it, everything I have just discussed still all apply. Of course, all the family members will also have to agree on a price to sell to whomever keeps it. The best thing to do to avoid problems as much as you can is go get an appraisal done so that everybody can be comfortable on what that value is. Now, renting that property, it can be an option, but you have to fix that property up just to get those market rents. And keep in mind that whomever buys that home and makes it a rental will also have to put a substantial amount of money down, as non-owner occupied loans, as they're called, require at least 20 to 30% down, unlike an owner-occupied loan where you'd have to put usually less money down. And if all the members of the family decide to keep it as a rental, I'd have to say not really a good option or a good idea, as again, it just seems like there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and this can lead to too many issues, trust me. Usually in my experiences, either buying these properties or helping the families through the situation, whether they go on the market or not, they all finally come to a conclusion that selling the home is the best option for all, and usually for a quick, easy as-is sale to, say, an investor, or they just decide to go out on the open market and see what they can get as well. One thing to note, when you sell an inherited property, in full disclosure, I am not a tax professional. Always consult them on this part I'm about to tell you. But to avoid huge capital gains on the sale, you can get what's called a step up in your cost basis to avoid paying huge taxes on the sale. And what a step up in cost basis means is you have an experienced real estate agent or an appraiser give you what's called a date of death value of that property on the day the loved one passed away to establish your cost basis. So for example, mom and dad bought the home for $50,000, say 40 years ago, and you sell it for $500,000 in today's world. And the difference is between the date of death value and what you sold it for is basically your gain that you'll have to pay of $25,000. And again, full disclosure, contact your tax professional to make sure on this. I am not a professional, but just want to give you the broad strokes of this. So hopefully you can see that this is a great way that you guys can sell a property and not have to pay huge capital gains, as $25,000 would be your capital gain instead of the difference of this. So anyway, without getting into the weeds too far on tax stuff, I hope that all helps. And your tax professional, they can definitely help you with all of that. Now, inheriting a home can be a blessing and a burden. And as stated earlier, death does not wash out the obligations at all. So always keep that in mind. Anyway, please leave me some of your comments down below if I missed anything, and if you have been through this process. And if you have further questions on inheriting a property, or you need an experienced real estate agent wherever you are, my contact link is below. I'd love to help you any way that I can.